Hey, what's good? What's going on, everybody? You already know who this is, and it's definitely your favorite soulful child. Yeah. Sure, come back at you once again here at the PEG podcast. You know, we always bring in public figures from around the world. We inspire you, and I love meditation, so I thought it'd be very great to get outside of just artists and regular public figures and get you somebody that's really gonna help you heal, that's gonna help you get in touch with that inner child, your inner self, so we all could be better. So I thought, what better way to bring the one and only, the host from Sense of Soul podcast. How you doing, man? How
Oh
you
my goodness,
doing?
thank you so much for inviting me on.
Hey, it's a blessing to have you, Shanna. And like I said, I seen your podcast, and it's amazing. By the way, it's full of light. You're not only into meditation, but it's more deeper to that. It's about Reiki. Reiki healing. And I don't know if you guys know anything much about Reiki, but this is what this episode is talking about. To get to know more about Reiki, how can we heal together, and how can we get more in touch with our inner self. So I'm gonna give a little minute before we get started and get to know the guest of today. Tell you guys, like I tell you all the time, stop, follow, yeah, follow. Da 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 da.
Yo, kill.
Link with the kill them, seconds to Trinidad, pick up the whole of them. Come on, get it, no idea, anything I.
So we could be able to put more content out here like that, get more special guests on, and continue to inspire you because this is what it's all about, giving you your flowers while you're alive. So look, Shanna, I don't want to take too much shine for you, but I want to dive more into you, let the people know before we get started, who is Shanna Vera and why did she decide to take the journey of becoming a Reiki master?
Wow, there's a lot that goes into that, so I'm gonna have to do the short version. But again, Shar, thanks so much for having me on. This is so fun. This was never the plan. That is for sure.
Wow.
I mean, I grew up Catholic. I am from Louisiana, so that runs deep.
Hey.
Yeah, from New Orleans, and I'm very from New Orleans. My family's been there since the 1600s,
Wow.
and so real deep. And so, anything outside of Catholicism oftentimes is just voodoo.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I even have Marie Laveau in my tree, so that probably has been a genetic, I would say, coming out. And I have found that with a lot of my ancestry seems to have a lot of different spiritual practices that I was unaware of that really are in my DNA. So I think I was just remembering in some way that I was born to kind of follow this path. However, it didn't come easy. And I could say that I was an empath as a child. I recognized that. Always was a ninny baby, sensitive, crying over everything, feeling everything. Oh, yeah. But that actually turned into one of the things that cued me in that there was something more than just a me suit. I became a body worker about a little over a decade ago. It was like the second part of my journey because I'm a mother of 4.
Oh, that's not easy.
So, well, yeah, it was really difficult at one point. I had 3 kids, 3 different schools, and a newborn. Driving around. I mean, it was insane. And it was actually at that time I was going through a huge transformation. So I was going through a divorce. I was a single mom, and I just was like, what am I going to do with my life? And I was only in my 30s, so I was thinking I can start over. It's not too late for me. So I sucked it up, moved in with my mom. Thank God I had her. So
Shout out to
helped me get
moms.
through school. And I was real proud of myself that I did that because I was a young mom, in my early 20s, had my first one. So I kind of felt like I skipped the whole, going to college and all that. But Shar, that was okay though, because in my family, that's what I saw. I mean, we had roles, and it was the mama in the kitchen taking care of the kids, and the papa out fishing. And that's kind of So I felt like I was falling in line, had all the kids and doing all the things, but I wanted something for myself. So I go to massage school, and little did I know that was really going to be probably the first thing that kind of, pushed me into the direction of also energy work, because I also learned other modalities like acupuncture, acupressure. I also learned shiatsu, cranial sacral therapy, all these different modalities that really are very ancient practices. And, if people are still using these practices today, there's something to say about that.
Is it more like a bad thing to say about it or a good thing to say about it?
Oh, I mean, like, it's obviously there's something to it. And I feel like we're looking for more holistic and alternative things rather than just, taking the pill, which I did for a long, long time. But I realized that as I was working on these people's stress, because really I was just rubbing their stress, it was almost like a memory foam bed. It'd be right back the next day. And there wasn't a lot of healing to it. It was just feeling good in the moment. Massage feels good, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, it felt like there was something deeper. Like, can we get in here and figure out, like, why your muscles keep doing this? And then I started to have something weird happen. I don't know if you've ever had it where you're around someone that has a headache and all of a sudden you have a headache.
Yeah. It's weird. It's like you come connected or something like that.
Right. Or it started to get ridiculous. Like, someone would have, like, specifically, like, a right pain in their foot. I'm in the right foot. And all of a sudden I go home, I got that.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is this? And I especially did it with my children. But I noticed I was doing this with my clients. I mean, weird stuff. Like, they'd have jaw pain, and I'd go home and have jaw pain.
Do you think that's because more of you are an empath? You said you recognized that when you were younger, that you're an empath. So could that be why you was feeling this?
Oh, I think absolutely. I think that not only do we, take on the emotions of other people, when we're around, the minute someone walks in the house, we oftentimes will, allow them to affect our mood. I did back in the day for sure. So now I noticed I was doing it with physical pain, which were multidimensional. So this is not a surprise. We often just think about the physical things, that we could see, feel, touch, the tangible things. But I mean, we're barely physical. We're energetic beings. We're multidimensional. So no surprise.
In order to achieve complete brainfulness, one must clear one's mind of all distractions. Distractions are only in your mind. You are the center of the universe.
Center of the universe.
Especially when you talk about that, because there's a lot of people that actually deal with that, but they don't know what it's called. They don't know why we all become in sync like that. And like you said, you can see it when someone's having a bad day and they walk into the house, they can instantly change the mood and have everybody feeling bad and everybody going through those emotions. It's not even our emotions. And you hit it on something as far as like you said again, you start noticing as a child that you're an empath. And you have this ancestry background of being from New Orleans and being connected with the universe, So for people who not as educated, who's not as aware that you are, what is the difference between Reiki, becoming a Reiki master, and then just learning meditation?
Yeah. So I would say that they're a great, partnership. In fact, I teach Reiki, so that's what makes me a Reiki master. I'm a Reiki master teacher, so I get to teach Reiki, which is so beautiful because, for one, I believe everyone should know Reiki. I mean, this should be a course in school. I mean, we're talking about the anatomy of the body, but what about the energetic body? I mean, your energy. And so it's very important. I mean, I can't tell you how this would have been very useful as a child to know this. And teaching my children this is vital. And especially, I have a son who's autistic. This has been very vital for him because it's his space, right, that he is actually concerned about when people come into his space because they're in his aura. They're in his energetic field, and he senses it, and it bothers him. Have you ever seen those people, they just walk down the street and I better not fuck with them?
Yeah. You're good. Say it.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, I got a potty mouth.
You're good.
So when that happens, that's them like walking around basically with a boundary.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
So I needed to learn, how do I protect myself from getting the pain of my clients? There's got to be something I could do. Well, Reiki showed up. It was like one of the directors of the school like put something out there, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I think I should probably look into it. So I started that way. And one of the first things I think in Reiki that you learn is how to sense your energy. How to sense what's going on a little bit deeper inside of this meat suit, right? Because you're not just this meat suit. In fact, without this body, you're just energy. And that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It is divine and intelligent. And this meat suit has a shelf life. It will, go back to the earth. Yeah. But this energy carries on. And so what are we doing to protect it? We protect the body. We wash the body. We put clothes on the body to protect it. We exercise the body. But what are we doing what are we doing for this multidimensional version of ourselves? And that's where meditation is you can almost call meditation exercise or an experience for your soul, really. Because when you relax the body and you quiet the mind, meditation allows your soul to almost be freed into its element. And so there you can go on a journey. And whether that journey looks like meeting ancestors, which I've used, you can use meditation for stuff like that. Or if it's just to find that peace and quiet and just that beingness. But there's a lot of wisdom in that space.
It is. And for people that hasn't really been introduced to meditation, they heard about it, they want to try it. There's so many ways you can start, such as guided meditation, getting a coach. Which way would you feel that if you're a beginner and you just want to start doing at least 5 minutes, 2 minutes a day to start putting yourself in that grounded space and start protecting yourself? What a way that you can say is the best way for a beginner to start?
There's so many different, you can call meditation so many things. It could be a walking meditation. I swear I'll get to crocheting and I'm like gone. It's when you are like finding that space where time is weird.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what? It's already, I've been doing this for 3 hours.
3 hours?
Yeah. It's very interesting is I actually get a lot of clients through Reiki because they can't get to the space. So Reiki can provide the space for people. And it almost is like you have to train your body and your mind to do this. And actually, that's why people do mudras. Have you ever heard of the mudras? Where you like hold your hand in different ways, your fingers.
When we're there in those,
like your thumb to your pointer finger, and it you go through like this lotus flower.
Yeah,
this is like a practice of like you may have seen it in like yoga. But you know what? Here's the thing. If you do stuff like that, no matter what it is, I mean, actually mine is Gasho. It's a prayer position. I put my thumbs to my heart, my fingers are up to the energy or source energy, God, whatever you want to call her. And the energy comes down onto your fingers. The energy builds in between your hands, and then you bring the energy into your heart. Now, I've been doing this for so long that the minute I do that and close my eyes, my brain learned this is what we do. It was almost like a muscle memory thing. So that's what the mudras are for too. It's very interesting, but there's ways to almost trick yourself in doing these things, these practices every day a certain way. Say you do them every day, like you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You can't, incorporate something like that. I have meditation every single morning outside with my coffee, with the sun, with the birds.
Oh, it sounds beautiful.
You know what? But sometimes my dog could be taking a shit in front of me. I don't know. Literally, it's wherever you are. Sometimes it's in the line waiting for my kid, to get out of school, and I'm sitting there for 30 minutes and just breathing. I think that the breathing part also is another way, like the mudra, to have a practice to be able to get you into that space to be able to like really truly free your soul.
I love that you said that because I have got a lot of questions with people because I meditate, and I've done a little bit of Reiki, and me myself wanted to dive more into it. And I've got a lot of questions as far as people saying like, how did you know how to start? I don't know how to stay in that mindset. I don't even know when I close my eyes, I have so many thoughts going on. How do I clear my mind? And you said it takes practice. It takes practice for you to do so. So yeah, when you're getting new clients and they're saying that to you, oh, I don't really know how to stay in that mind space, or I can't keep my eyes closed. What is the advice that you give them to get them to start practicing being in that mindset, being in that zen?
Well, here's the thing. In that space, when you're hearing all this clusterfuck in your head, don't ignore it. That's such an opportunity for you to become a witness of what's going on in your head. Because there are, like I said, you're multidimensional. That voice in your head is very important for you to listen to. Sure, if it's like, oh, you should be, going to the grocery store right now, don't forget to do this. Well, make note of that. Almost like check.
Yeah.
But sometimes that voice is talking shit to you. Like,
honestly,
you shouldn't even be doing this. You're not even good at this. You can't even breathe right. You can't even stop thinking. Like, that's a very important part of this. That for me was what broke me open. So don't feel bad about, not being able to be quiet. That's a huge part of one's journey to be able to listen to those voices.
Wow, that's key because when you started diving into it, even looking on YouTube, you would hear them say ignore the voices. But even me, when I started, it was so difficult. Even sometime now, it'd be like, I have all these thoughts in my brain. But I love how you said embrace it, listen to it.
Yeah.
Go with the wave. Yeah,
it's so important, and you'd be amazed. In fact, I felt very sorry for myself. I'm like, who is this that's talking like this to me?
Right.
It was, you didn't come into this world talking shit to yourself, so it's your experiences. And so it's just so deep to really, truly listen to that voice. I mean, you can even name her if you want to. I mean, I had a friend who, she called it her drunk best friend. You can call it whatever you want. But it's true. And she still is there, right? It's still something there. It literally is almost like the kind of foundation of your subconscious mind. But you can control it. Once you are able to be in that space and you're listening and you hear it, you're like, oh. And then you get in that space. You get to choose. Do I listen to that voice? Or do I kind of put that voice in time out and say, no, that's not true. I do deserve to be in this space.
I love that.
I'll get to you later, and I'm coming back and taking control of that. It's almost like a reclamation of power in that moment with yourself.
You're like proclaiming yourself, instead of like fighting against it, you're going with it.
And that's what my podcast is named for, Char, that sense of soul, because I realized that we had these aspects of ourselves. And in my mind, in my head, when I would try to meditate, that voice was way louder than my soul.
Wow.
And then when I started to address all the things that I was telling myself, I'm like, yeah, that's not true about me. That why should I worry about that right now? This isn't even existing yet. A lot of the things that we're thinking of are either past or future. They're not present. They don't exist.
Yeah. It's like it already happened, so you can't change it.
Yes.
And then it hasn't even happened yet, so we got all these ideas of what could be.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're building depression and we're building anxiety because you don't know what's going on and you can't change what's going on. But we're not acknowledging the present moment. I love that. I love
exactly.
that.
And I had ADHD. I still do. I have ADHD. I guess. I mean, I hate labels, but I mean, I tell you, I'm like right next to the definition. There's my face.
It's your picture.
Yeah, I have ADHD. Me and my kids, we all have something. In fact, that too has been a blessing because I had to learn a specific way that was really unique to me, and so did my kids. And I think that we all should learn that way. You can't put me in a box. So I spent much of my time trying to escape the box, and I refuse to go back in.
Now you don't have to go back in. And I love, like I said, your podcast. We're going to touch on it just a little bit. Well, for people who haven't got tapped in, you guys need to get tapped in, because I love hearing stuff like that. You know, even listening to you, it was like, wait, is she real? You know, I was like, sound like an AI.
Bruh.
It was really like if you were listening to, like, we was listening to meditation and somebody guiding you through it. It was very soothing. You know, it's like, oh my God, she's real, you know? And I love that, because you have to have a voice to calm you, you know, in that space. So being in the space of, you can't do it, you'll never make it, to go into, you can do this. You know, it's okay. You know, I love it. And what I really want to touch on is, what event happened in your life, like a life-changing event that happened in your life, that made you say, okay, I'm going to study my DNA. I'm going to study my ancestry background, and I'm going to take what I learned for the present to start healing the past and start being prepared for the future.
Right. Like we were just saying, I mean, it doesn't exist, you know, if I focused and I lived in the past.
Right.
And of course, it's not going to do me any good to worry about the future. However, when it comes to healing, you know, again, with, you know, bodies, right? I mean, a perfect example, you know, if two people get in a car accident and they have the exact same, you know, bodies, they're the same age, you know, same health. And one guy is having like literally the best day of his life. He just won the lottery. He's got a girlfriend. He's got a wife too. I mean, dude is like happy. And then you have this other guy over here. He just lost his dad, his dog. You know, he lost his job. He's just down and out. What they will carry within that muscle tissue, they may not realize it, but it'll be totally different. Dude who, you know, had everything going on for him is going to heal like he should. Yeah. But this guy, he has trauma connected now to this injury, and this turns into chronic pain. I see it over and over. I mean, it stores in the muscle tissue. So if that can happen in this life, I think also epigenetics has proved, and science has proved now through, you know, different mutations like cancers and stuff like that, that we do carry the trauma of our ancestors.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, well, do you just accept that you're going to have chronic pain your whole life? You know, mutations, cancers, and all that shit.
Right.
No, I mean, we've got enough stuff, like all the toxins and all the plastic and shit we eat and drink. So, no, I absolutely, well, I think epigenetics proves it. You can absolutely change this. And I was not intentionally looking to do this when I started my ancestry journey, but I'll have to tell you, my ancestry journey was hard. I mean, I went like 6 years, hardcore, and so much healing there. It's timeless healing. It's a timeless. I mean, for me, I feel like it's vital for all of us to know where we came from. Where did this body come from? It came from somebody, and guess what? Your ancestors are living themselves out within you, unconsciously in your DNA. You know, there's patterns that have been passed down from generation to generation, and all it needs is a little awareness. Or in my case, my ancestors wanted to be heard. They wanted me to be a voice for them. And I'm sorry, I mean, it's more than just my history. I mean, I'm from French Creole people. Yeah. They are a forgotten people. Yeah. This is American history that has never been told. Yeah. Never. Wow. I mean, I take every opportunity I can to share through history, because there's been so much that has been hidden, forgotten, purposely, maybe hidden and destroyed.
I don't know if you ever seen a movie, but it's called Skeleton Key, and it's it's based in New Orleans. And I tell people, like, I feel like some parts of that was true, because it's like we're all, like you said, connected with the spiritual world. So we walk around spirits all day, and sometimes we embody them, not knowing that we embody them. So I think it's very important that you talk about the ancestry background and how we carry our ancestors' DNA, we carry their ways, their thought processes. And a lot of times when you wake up and you're like, I don't feel like myself, you're really not. You know, it could be something that you're embodying, But I like that you say, I have to be able to tell what is me and what is not. You know?
Yeah, I mean, literally, if one of your ancestors decided to take a right turn rather than a left, you would not even exist.
Yeah.
This is how important they are. You know, the decisions that they made and everything that they did is living in us. And so this is part of what I do is I help people, you know, with their ancestry. I've helped hundreds of people actually build their trees and learn their real ancestors. I mean, like, I had nicknames for my ancestors. I knew them so well.
Wow.
But you know what? It's not for the faint-hearted. Okay, we all have trauma in our ancestry. You know, I had ancestors that did not have names. They were slave of this person. That is not for the faint-hearted. But then I went on a really deep rabbit hole trying to find her name, which I did. And, you know, so it was those moments that I was like, wow, I gave my grandmother a name.
Yeah.
I mean, how amazing is that? I told her story. You know, I connected to the pain and the trauma. I had to know it. It does. Yeah, it's all, you know, a lot of it's ugly. But what I took with me into this life, into the present, is the strength, these relentless freaking people in my family who have been destroyed over and over and over by hurricanes.
Yeah.
You know?
Seriously.
Relentless.
And I think it's important that you talked about that. And so would you say, is this the reason why we led up to Sense of Soul podcast and wanted to help people find their connections with their ancestry and how to be in touch with it?
Again, I mean, we're multidimensional. And I think that we actually are on this earth. This is what we're called here to do, is to heal these layers of ourselves. And so it is the remembering of our ancestors and also the remembering of our soul, the remembering of our evolving soul, which I did not used to believe in that. You know, I believe whatever the priest or whatever told me to believe. And that is actually one of the first things I asked myself that put me onto the journey of creating Sense of Soul podcast. It was, how much of what you believe in have you been told to believe in?
Yeah.
And of that, how much have you experienced? And so, I hadn't experienced anything.
Right.
I couldn't maybe love, but everything else I was trying to be and do was just based on what everyone else told me to be.
Mainly like everybody else, you know, telling you how to, this is the way we all grew up, so we're all going to follow the path. You thought it was very important for you to become a podcaster. And I think within these days times, it's important to have great content, great information to give people. You took a different route than most people. You thought, you know, I want to give positivity, but I want to give our soul a space to be free. And you talk about the importance. And so as a successful podcaster, what is the two biggest lessons that you would say that you had learned along the way while you was in the midst of creating Sense of Soul podcast?
One, that we don't just have like one spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
I would say. In fact, I awaken all the time, which is amazing. It's almost like you're in a video game and you're like leveling up, right? You don't stay just, you know, the whole point of playing the game is to level up. So you're constantly, if you're just staying at the same level for so long, you got to get a new strategy, right? You got to try something new.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be evolving souls even in our lifetime. You know, I just can't tell you how many times I've awakened to new things, and I'm a student for life. That would be the most important thing. I mean, I am so blessed to not only be with people like you, who I want to learn from as well, but to have the privilege and the honor to talk to some of the amazing guests that have been on my podcast. I mean, sometimes I'm not even joking, I will get off a call and I will just cry. I'll be like, I cannot freaking believe that conversation just happened. And let me just tell you, it's not always the big names like Neil Donald Walsh or something, which he was the real thing. He's amazing. But sometimes it's somebody no one's even heard of.
Yeah.
And they just, I felt like the most honored to be with them. And it just, Yeah, I'm a student for life. I'm always looking for opportunities to learn more. I love to seek. I love to go down the rabbit holes because I feel like being curious, right, is something that we need to stay. We need to stay curious. We need to use discernment, right? Is this feeling right in my body?
Yeah.
Like, is it? That's maybe an exercise we could do, Shar, if you'd like.
Could be. You're right. I would love it.
It's called the discernment exercise. Have you done it before?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, it's quick.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so close your eyes, and if your listeners can, if they can, close your eyes. And I want you just to kind of take a few deep breaths. Bring your breath all the way down to your feet and just kind of ground yourself, root yourself, anchor yourself to Mother Earth. And then I just want you to imagine right now something that makes you happy. And I don't want it to be a person necessarily. I would say my mom was French fries. But it could be anything, just something that just puts a smile on your face, brings you joy. You really enjoy it. You love it. And I want you to imagine that thing right now, just in your vision, imagination, just bring it to the forefront. And as you're thinking about this thing that you love, I want you to sense your body, how it feels. How does your muscles feel? How does your jaw and the muscles in your face feel? As you think about this thing you love. What's your breath doing? How's your breath? What's the temperature like? You love this thing. Makes you happy. Okay, open your eyes for a second. As you love something, it feels good, right?
Yeah.
So close your eyes. Please. Okay. Now, I want you to just take a deep breath, blow out real quick. I want you to imagine now that you hate that thing you said you love. You hate it. You don't want it. You don't like it. You hate it. And as you say you hate it, I want you to pay attention to your muscles. You hate that thing. How does your breathing feel? How does your heart feel? What are the muscles in your face doing as you say you hate that thing you said you loved? How does your stomach feel? You hate it. All right, say you love it. I won't keep you there very long.
I love it.
I mean, how did you feel? What was the difference?
Well, I love pizza. So I thought about pizza, and then you told me to think about how I hate it, and I thought about why I hate it, and then I was like tearing down the pizza, why I hate it, and why it's bad for me, and I started to get tense up a little bit. I was frowning in the face. Yeah, but when you said love it again, I was like, I love pizza.
Yeah. You know why?
Why?
Because when we are telling ourselves the truth, when we are aligned with our heart, it feels good. Our body is in homeostasis. Our muscles are relaxed. Our breathing is so nice. It feels right. You feel it feels right. And when we're lying to ourselves, our body tells us. It tenses up. It rejects it. The muscles in our face get weird. Our breath gets weird. Our stomach, our heart gets weird. Our body is a truth detector. It'll literally tell you if you are aligned in your truth or not. Wow. And can you imagine all the times and all in one day, how many times we're lying to ourselves?
We're
like, oh, I'm not good enough for that. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Can you imagine how good that feels in the body? Your body's going to reject it. No wonder why we're going around in pain all day.
That exercise is so amazing. I swear. You guys definitely replay this. Try it over and over, because then you start pointing out the lies that we're telling ourselves throughout the day. This episode is amazing, and I wish we can go on and on and on. But I want people to stay tapped into you. I want them to go check out your podcast. So shout your podcast out where they can find you, and make sure you throw out your Instagram where people can find you as well. Because I want people to really get tapped into what you do. Because this is so amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, they can go to senseofsoulpodcast.com and they can find everything there. They can find the different things that I offer. Like I do a clear workshop that helps you actually learn about your ancestors, how to clear all that stuff out. I work with you one-on-one. And actually, Shar, I'm going to give your listeners 50% off of that.
Hey, let's go!
Yes. I know. I there's nothing more than I love to be able to do that for people. I can't even tell you. If it wasn't for the time that I spend, I spend so much time. I dig. Because I love it and I've learned so much history. But they just can go to my website, go under classes and courses, and they can put in the discount code. I already put it in my website, P.E.G.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, and if they have questions or if they want to learn more about me or just have a conversation, if they want to talk about angels and aliens, whatever, like I'm down.
I'm down.
They can even find me on there. There's a free soul chat. I'd love to talk to anybody. And my podcast is twice a week, every Monday and Friday. I talk to amazing people from around the world. And I put out a lot. I know that, this is a world of creation. I love it so much. And I know what you do is a lot of work. I do. And so thank you so much for what you do too.
Thank you for coming on to the show. We're literally down to the last few seconds of it. So I want people to stay connected with us before we get off. But stay tapped in. Go check out the Sister Soul podcast. She's amazing. As you can see, this exercise work. You already know. I'm going to keep telling you to stay tapped in here. No one tell you today or tomorrow, yesterday, that they love you. Look, we love you. We're giving you valuable information. We love you. Keep inspiring. Keep pushing. And thank you, Shanna, for coming on from the Sister Soul podcast to get connected with us. We love you today. We love you tomorrow. You already know what I'm going to say. Let's get it. Yeah. Let's go. Thank you. This is amazing. You're amazing.
So are you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Howdy, Fast Daddy.